I've got a question of utmost importance to you. Would you rather be known as a bootlicker because you worked instead of tossed it off and you had stuff to do, or be known as two-faced because when you're with a group of people, you talk crap about a person, but when you're with that person, you gobble on that and rotate on it. It was kind of it's a question that I don't really need an answer to because I know which one I would rather be, and I think being two-faced is a little bit, you're not being genuine to who you are and you're kind of selling out. But being a bootlicker for doing your job, as like, I get how that comes across because during the old war times, it was always the excuse of the SS of, well, I was only doing my job. But we're not talking about those extremes. We're talking about your day-to-day job, hence I'm at work, my job. And I find it kind of funny because I was called a bootlicker today by one of the other staff members because while they were tossing off the last couple of hours of the day, I was doing work. I didn't want to play their games and I didn't want to join in with their fun. I just wanted to get on with work. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm tired today. I don't have the mind capacity to play some games and whatever. I'd rather just crash out and sleep. But I also have work to do, and I've got work that's going to keep me at work for a while. And if there's one thing that I have learned in life, it's that if you're going to have to hang around somewhere, you might as well have something to do whilst you're there. Killing time and wasting time, it doesn't make the hours pass. And for me, because I've got to be here for a little bit longer, I'd rather do something to make those hours pass. However, that makes me a bootlicker apparently because I'm, doing what the man tells me. Which also came with another backhanded sort of slap of, oh, he thinks if he works hard, he'll get a promotion. Which is kind of funny. Because although there's nowhere particularly for me to get promoted to, it is actually in my benefit to do work. And as I've spoken with the guys already, things are actually going to start coming back my way pretty soon. So it's like, joke's on you, kind of working hard does reap the rewards. Now I understand why people have that kind of point of view. Like when I used to work for the electric firm and stuff like this, you did feel like you were doing extra because that was basically it's my character. And you kind of find yourself in a situation where it's like, hang on a minute, I'm doing more than them, but they're sort of either getting paid more or we're getting paid the same kind of situation. And I do get it, but I'm also like grown up to understand that if you're gonna do something, your boss is gonna let you do it. Why wouldn't he? It's in massive benefit to him, so he's gonna allow you to do that stuff. And yeah, you're gonna look like a bootlicker or whatever you want to put it as there, but I think that kind of takes away people's own morals or their own work ethic or whatever you want to say. People just sometimes just do stuff because it's their nature, it's their character, and it's what works for them. I did find it quite funny, I must admit, though, when the comment of, oh, if he keeps working, he thinks he'll get a promotion came around, and in the back of my head, knowing what I know, and it's just kind of like, you just laugh to yourself, don't you? Because what people don't know is the important thing. That makes the difference of a situation. If they're going to sit there and I turn around and went, actually, I'm going to be getting more money because I've been putting more work in. So, yeah, what you're slating me for is actually what's worked for me. Would their attitude change, or would they then sit there and just say it was something else? Because where I work at the minute, don't get me wrong, there is quite a divide. And I get the impression that a lot of the issues that some of the staff have is because my bosses are two white men and that's all that they need to be, and that's enough for certain people to have a problem with it. I was going to say I don't see it like that, but I would do. I'm a white male, so I don't really have a race in that race, a boat in that race, whatever you want to say. But I know out of the two, out of being called Two-Face and a bootlicker, And being called a bootlicker for doing, like going to work and doing your office job within your hours, and somebody turns around and goes, "Oh, you're a bootlicker," and it's like, "It's my contract. Like, it's what I do." I kind of feel is a little bit unjust, but at the same time, what I have noticed is these particular people are only really catty when they're in a group. Once they're individual, like I said earlier on, for me they're two-faced as hell. They will hate anybody when they're in a group. As soon as they're with that individual, they will kiss ass like there's fucking, yeah. It's just interesting how we're supposed to live in a world today that's more accepting. The way that it's pushed is this is the time that the world is more accepting and more accommodating to more types of people, more types of personality. And yet, in my tiny little life, I will say that it is the time that I've noticed that there is way more hate, where everything is divided, and it's just out here just trying to cause some sort of divide. And if there is one thing that I have noticed as I've grown up, it's that if you can be controversial, you will get views, you'll get support, whatever. And what's scary is that as we're moving forward, like nowadays, in order to be controversial doesn't even take that much, because there is such a huge divide on pretty much every single issue. And it can be such small insignificant issues as well, like flavors of crisps, for example. The support that certain things have is just astronomical. It's just something I've really noticed going forwards, and I just find it interesting. As a world, we're supposed to be all love thy neighbour almost, and the way that the media portrays it is almost like it's nowadays it's more and more and more like that. But I have never felt more hatred in the world than what I do right now. And that's not just stuff coming at me, don't get me wrong, that's like just as an observer, just looking outside and looking at stuff. Everybody needs to feel hated or needs to find something to hate. Nobody can sit there anymore and go, "You're different from me, I don't like it, but whatever." Everybody has to make something their problem, and I don't get it. I really don't get it. Let me know. Bootlickers or two-faces, what would you rather be?